Good morning, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters here on YouTube. Those who follow my Facebook group on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, and those who follow HCS, my showreel TikToks under HCS. How's everybody doing this morning? Yes, for me, I've been getting a lot of rest actually. Uh, uh, a lot of rest. Yesterday, I took uh, my dog Rocky to get his some shots, and it took like we had to wait like 5 hours just for him to get his shots. So that was a little bit exhausting there, waiting 5 hours. But here I am. That's why I kind of didn't make a video last night. But I'm making one here during the day on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Most likely, all the viewers that view this channel will probably, all the late night hours might be asleep right now. But I'm just here making this video. Let me fix some of this lighting here. Uh, See, I can fix it. Some of this lighting here. Yeah. How you doing, Jacqueline Finley? How you doing this morning? I hope you're doing great. Well, actually, I didn't do one last night uh, or in the afternoon because I had to take my dog to the vet, and it was like a 5 hour wait. So by the time I got home and ate, I was tired. I was exhausted. So it's like I couldn't stay awake because I was tired. So I slept all night. Just woke up maybe like 20 minutes ago. So I decided to make it live here during the day. Maybe get some new viewers in. You know, I know there's some people that are on the other side of the world. Yeah, well, sometimes because I do a lot of late night shows. Then on Fridays I do uh, a late night show also. Sometimes with a brother on Paranormal Roundtable. Sometimes we go 4 hours, 5 hours, at nighttime. And then after I get off of there, I go off and do my show. So yeah, sometimes you got to get the proper rest, or if you don't get the proper rest, eventually it'll catch up to you. And when it catches up to you, your body goes in shut off mode. That there's nothing you can do about it, but let your body rest. And that's kind of like what happened to me. Uh, I let my body just said, "Hey, get some rest," and I did. On Fridays, sometimes we go off at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Depends because sometimes Brother Josh Turner he does shows with Blondes and Booze on Fridays before he does his own show on Fridays. Between 9 and 10 o'clock, that's when we go live. Then a couple of hours here or there. Uh, I guess I have some things to cover here since I did finally get some good rest, of which what that means is you go into the spirit realm, right? And there's a lot of things within the spirit realm that could lead to spiritual openings. You got the succubus, the incubus that are just waiting, or what people call the sea witch in other countries. They're just waiting for an opportunity to spiritually attack us, right? They're just waiting to see if you can fall into the temptations of what they're showing you in the dream state. Which last night, there was a lot of that happening while I was letting my body rest, in which I did a lot of type body rebuking. Uh, at the same time, I wanted some other things. I don't know if I should talk about them or not. I always talk about battling things of the unseen, whether it's the Gideon, the Legion, and anything that falls under God, right? Where we have the ability to tie, bind, and rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name, and rebuke it through Jesus Christ's name. Uh, well, I witnessed something in the dream state. I was shown something of possibility of other beings that are in existence within within our world, uh, and these beings are more of, how should I say? I guess you could say there were some are of old and some are maybe mythological beings. But what I witnessed uh, was the Nosferatu in the dream, where it was attacking people. In the dream, those people trying to was fighting the Nosferatu. They had crosses up, trying to block the doorways for him to coming in. But if some way or another, it was always finding a way in. You know, like I said, it's a the dream world. That you're shown things. Uh, so I would say if we're fighting something that's not falling under the order of Jesus Christ, when we say we tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name, then we have to handle it differently. Which I would say, if it's a Nosferatu and it's not falling under the order of I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, then you have to handle it differently. Which will be physically. Uh, I would suggest, that how the saying goes, if how do you destroy something, where you cut the head of the snake, right? So that would be my suggestion. If it's something that doesn't fall under the order, and this is the what ifs. If it doesn't fall under the order of fighting the spirits of Jesus Christ, then we have to fight it uh, physically, in which, in order to take something out in that way, where we take off uh, the main thing that's running the whole body. If it's a being that's a how should I say, that just feeds on blood, you can take off the main body part of it that controls that body or the vessel, which would be to eliminate the head. I would suggest. But as I was in this dream state, this about the dream state, I witnessed another being. This being looked like the body of either a spider or the body of a scorpion, possibly two. Well, they were coming out of the ground, and the other part of the body looked like people. It's kind of like it was mimicking to look like people, right? So it's like in this dream that I was dreaming, it was it was part spider, part scorpion, and the body resembled that of a human being. The other top part of it, and it was going to war, I guess, and I think it was going to war against these vampires that I speak of. So I would assume that the way it was going to war against them is they have the upper body to look like humans, and if this succubus, incubus, or vampire see them, they go for the body, but then the spider gets them, or yeah, the spider gets them. Like it's mimicking to lure them in, and then it gets them. I guess it drains their life source out of them. So I'm just saying this is like it's what ifs, because in the dream state that's what I was shown. It was we're already fighting against a lot of things here on Earth. We're fighting against shapeshifters, skinwalkers, succubus, incubus, shadow people. There's manifestations that take to look like Bigfoots, uh, werewolves, and all kinds of cryptids, right? we're already dealing with that, and then we have to deal with the secrecy of the government, how they be doing things to manipulate our environment or situations, trying to deceive the people. We have to deal with those people. And now, what I was shown spiritually, normally when I'm shown something, I'm shown for a reason, uh, spiritually. So now I have to deal with this Nosferatu that deceives people because he looks like a regular person, so you let him in into your house because you're having a party or something, right? You let him in, then he has authority to be inside your household and cause chaos and havoc on the rest of the family, which we have to deal with that. And then there's other beings that I guess they have a war against them, or they see them as food. I mean, I'm just letting you know what I was showing. I did a lot of tie to bind and rebuke in the when I woke up. I was like, I tie bind and rebuke this in Jesus Christ, and I tie bind and rebuke this in Jesus Christ's name. But imagine if the vampire, or Nosferatu, they hunt humans for the blood, but then there's another being that hunts them for their blood, for their life source, which was this half spider, half human, or half spider, or half scorpion, half human, which the human is the mimic of it to lure them in, and then they get them. It's crazy. That's what I witnessed in a dream last night. I'm just sharing it here with y'all on spiritual encrypted encounters. Like I said, listen to me. It was just a dream. It's about what if, you know. Good morning, Benny for Alex. How you doing, brother Alex? Right. Well, it's I had to get some rest, brother. I slept all night last night, and I felt that I needed to do a live to make up for last night. I haven't been really doing lives at night. My body has been shutting down on me, so I finally said, you know what? I'm not going to fight the rest. I'm going to get some rest, and I got me a good night rest last night. It's raining here in Texas right now, so I'm just speaking of what I seen in the dream state. You know, what I seen in the dream state is I've got enough rest. This imagine that if there's some kind of beings like that, but at the same time you got to be careful what to believe in, right? So at this time I say I tie bind and rebuke what was being shown to me in my dreams. The succubus and incubus, I take authority over you in Jesus Christ's name. Of what you were trying to do, I tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. And all these other beings that were being shown to me, we tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name, because we all know that the master mimickers are those that are unseen. The DEN, Legion, anything that's demonic, they're master mimickers. So if they can try to get you to believe in something, then that's a spiritual opening. That's why I'm taking authority over them in Jesus Christ's name right now. But it's what ifs, what I'm speaking of, and that's the beings. That's the first time that I've ever seen, or the Nosferatu I've seen. I've literally had you could say a confrontation with one when I was stationed in Germany back in 19, 1990. Yeah, well, that's what I witnessed, brother, of what's gonna be happening, because there's gonna be all these beings coming out. The ones that I seen that look like spider and scorpion, they literally they're like mimic, right? They literally look like human beings. The upper body looks like human beings. So imagine if one is standing behind a bush, and they have the ability to speak like humans, like a female or a male, and you go and you're trying to help out somebody, and then they lure you in, but apparently these beings that I was shown, they're coming after the Nosferatu. They're coming for them. That's why they're in the form of, well, only God knows who they're coming for. The only thing is we have to be prepared, spiritually and physically. I just got rid of the troll. I mean, I try not to. I try to be nice with people, but as soon as the trolls come in, I boot them out. I don't got time to be playing games with idiotic people. Straight up. Yeah, I know it's those things are mentioned in the Bible. I do an overbuilt automotive, so I woke up full of energy, and I said, since this is fresh in my mind right now, I want to speak about it. Uh, Brother uh, Vader Vibe says the book of Revelation talks about them half human and half scorpion like creatures. Yeah, half human, half scorpion, or what I want is half human, half spiders of some sort. You know, they looked like they had spider legs, but at the same time they could have been scorpions. Uh, with it didn't have the face of a spider. Where the face of a spider stands, it had the 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 the, the form of a human. And they were coming. I guess they were gonna fight in this dream that I was having. The Nosferatu was running havoc, killing people. People were trying to fight it. Through the cross. Rebuking it, and it would just laugh. And then it was taking people. Next thing you know, the just I guess with an Esperanto, I would say to you is don't look to its eyes. I guess it uses its eyes in a sense of a way to hypnotize people. So you look away from the eyes and try to practice. If you got a machete or something, practice to take swings at something without looking at it at his eyes. But then after that, outside of this home where things were happening in this nature, out of the ground, I see this half half human. I mean, half spider or half scorpion with the with the form of human, standing where the head goes, like it mimicked a human form, and it even had clothes like a human. That's what's weird, that it mimicked to have clothes like a human. And I guess they were coming after. There was going to be a fight of some sort. I don't know. It was crazy what I witnessed. But like I said, it's all in the dream state. And it's just about what ifs, and it's about not giving power to something like that. But it's like we just have to be ready, right? That's why I'm making this video. Yeah. Well, the Nosferatu, I don't think they're the DDN. I think they're their own a form of how should I say, succubus incubus. So I don't know, maybe the person that had the cross or that was making the sign of the cross didn't have a faith, or their faith wasn't strong enough to be able to fight the Nosferatu. But it was very persistent, and there wasn't only one of them. There was many of them that were infiltrating in the home. They were attacking people inside this house. This location looked like somewhere foreign, in a different country. Uh, could be one of those areas where there's war right now. That people are not speaking of everything that's happening within this areas where there's war, where these things might be happening. This is just a what if. How you doing, Sister Delana? I will, brother Vader vibes. Uh, Normally, I'm showing when I'm showing something spiritually. This what normally happens, brothers sisters. Since this is part of having the spiritual gift of discernment. When I'm showing something spiritually, it's because normally I want to make contact with what's being shown to me because it's coming for me, you know. Whether it's a witch, a warlock, and I'm showing this, how I know how he looks. I was shown a certain face. I know how he looks. So that will be something that I have to be spiritually ready at all times, no matter where I'm at. Because when it makes its presence known to me, then I'm going to have to fight it spiritually, which will be this this Nosferatu. I've seen how he looks from the face. Uh, uh, I guess you could say, he's got a lot of blood under his hands because it caused a lot of chaos and havoc around the world. But so far, for some reason, I was shown how he looks. So we'll see, you know. But the only thing I can do, because I don't want to give power to anything, is I say I take authority over you. Type by the rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. That's what we're supposed to do when we have a dream. You know, whether that happens or not, you know, we'll see. Thank you, Overbuild. Yeah. Yes, it's the Delana. A lot of people, they know who I am, but they really haven't paid attention to my works because, you know, when you got other people they don't want you to expose the spiritual aspect out of it, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, and they minimize how many people view your footage, or people from other groups. Uh, they have their own podcast, and they're already popular as it is, right? And they see me as a threat because I'll take away a lot of the things that people talk in podcasts because I'm bringing the spiritual truth and revealing the DDN, revealing anything that's demonic. You know, they see me as a threat. So what they do is try to complain on every video I make or every show reel I make, so it can be limited to who views it, right? So I know I've been dealing with this. You know, and there's people that say that they're my friends, but they're really not because they might be the same people that are trolling me. You know, they continue to troll me every time I go live to try to prevent my lives from people to grow, but it's not working. You know, uh, people are figuring out that trolls are trolls, and you know, ignore the trolls and just continue with the story. What I'm saying, you know, is y'all see, I have no paper. I'm talking to you to the cell phone. So everything that I'm talking to you about is what I experience, what I go through. Whether I see something that's here in the flesh, something in spirit, or like I was speaking about what I witnessed in the dream world, and I'm just bringing it up here, speaking about it, about the what ifs. Yes. So you know, of course, you know this is the way it's been all my life. You know, I've been targeted since I was a kid, since I was born. You know, they tried to take me out since I was born, but I survived because it wasn't up to any principalities here on earth to take me out. It was about Jesus Christ has a purpose for me, a mission for me. So anything that anybody try to do, whether it be spiritual or physical, I'm still here because of Jesus Christ. He guides me, and he's blessed me to be here amongst the living. So you know, and of course I've been through places where I had to fight, you know, combat. So I'm that person. You know, I'm not the one, but I am that person that's able to fight physically or spiritually with the love foundation. I can overcome either way, physically or spiritually, with the love foundation. Yes, Delana, the one that's standing by the woods, this to the right. There's kind of if you really look at it in that picture, there's actually two. It's standing by a tree, and he's holding a book in his hand. It looks like he's holding a book of some sort, and he's pretty tall, looking at me. Uh, There might be two beside him, then him and another one. Then towards the bottom of the trees, you could see what seems to be a what people want to call a lycanthrope or a dogman shapeshifter that's like red fur, and you can see a face, and it's sitting down with his back by a tree, and you can see the white face of it. Uh, if you really look close to that picture. Yeah, there's several there. I don't know if you've seen the other one that I placed where you can see the path and there's a lot of them standing there. Some people say, "Oh, they look cartoonish." I said, "No, they're in disembodied form. They manifest to whatever they want to manifest to look like." You know, there's one that looks like a bird that has one eye, like a cyclops, in the photo. Uh, there was some that were by the tree line that looked like a dogman or a Bigfoot. Uh, they all look different, you know, when they manifest, but they manifest into a beastly form. You know, if you think about the way they look, then we could go to when people talk about the Watchers, or people want to talk about the Anunnaki. That's how the Anunnaki looked. That's how the but DDN or offspring of the Watchers. So why wouldn't they look the same as what created them, right? They can look like the Watchers, and they can look human-like since their mothers were human-like. That's what they're able to manifest to look human because their mothers, right? Or the mothers became harpies, and some became sirens. You know, I started remembering some things of the past um, that makes sense to me. Uh, with the harpies and the sirens. I know back in the 70s, I remember in my grandmother's house, she had pictures of mermaids, little figurines of mermaids on the walls, and a picture of a certain kind of fish that I never seen before. You know, and it makes me wonder if some of this witches and warlocks that their affiliations and worship is to the sirens and the harpies, which would be lechusas, right? Because those are the women that slept with the the watchers. They became harpies and sirens, which you know you could say mermaids. Tecolotes. A tecolote is kind of like a form of a lechusa, I believe, because I remember they would say that name. My grandfather, my great grandmother would talk about tecolotes, but then I knew about lechusas. But I think that's the same thing. I don't know if y'all see my late night videos where there's something that was making a weird noise. I believe that was a tecolote. But then afterwards, it's when the lechusa peeked behind the tree. It was like standing on the ground looking at me. So it might be the same thing. A tecolote and a lechusa might be the same thing. It's just a different manifestation of the form that they take because they have the ability to, I guess, transform or not transform, but manifest into those things. And here's a troll again, and he's out of here. Bye bye, corn on the cob. Oh yeah, I still have another show reel that it literally looks. I have one that is a brown one. That one looks either trollish or looks like a Bigfoot. I haven't placed it out there. Is that sometimes that I put show reels, people see what's within the show reels, but since I want to stick to their narrative or to what they believe in, like those people that are cryptid believers that they say they're 100% fledged. They see something in my show reels and they don't want to accept that what they're seeing, that it's something spiritual, because if they agree to what they're seeing, then they have to change all the works that they've done. So they want to be stubborn headed, even though I'm showing them the proof. At least I'm showing proof, right? At least I'm showing proof of that they exist around us in disembodied form. The only proof that the critical community has shown is people in costume. People in costume. I'm showing you that they're amongst us in spiritual form, right? And they're how do they look like? Hmm? How did the show I created yesterday or 2 days ago? How did it look like? Looked like a dogman, right? But it was in disembodied form. I have another show reel that I haven't created there because I have to look back and find it. I think there's two of them that they're peeking over a tree, and it's the ultraviolet rays of the sun hitting them, and they move their head. They literally move their head and they look at the camera. You can see the face and you can see like teeth. But the thing is, when I went out there was to look to find something that's in disembodied form. That was my mission, is to uncover the DDN through all the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Oh yeah. And normally they travel in numbers. We know that the Legion are many, so the DDN are part of that, right? So there are many too. Their offspring, this disembodied, uh, the DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim, which is they're not offspring no more, but they're around us in spirit, right? And those are the ones that lure people into the woods. Those are the ones that have the ability to possess people. Uh, if the person is not spiritual ready, I would suggest don't go into the woods because they're there. Uh, uh, they're there and just waiting for an opportunity to attach themselves to somebody. You know, they will mimic different sounds, whether it be somebody whistling, somebody you could hear footsteps, somebody say something to you, laughing, coughing. They're going to mimic sounds around you because they want you to believe that it's something real. And if you believe it's something real, then that's when they attack you spiritually. So what you do is do not believe. What you do is you start praying against it. Because if your eyes are showing you there's nothing around you, then it's got to be something that's in spirit. So you say, I take authority over you in Jesus Christ's name. I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ. Through Jesus Christ at this time. And then you won't hear nothing. And as you're trying to find your way out, you might have to go into prayer numerous times because they'll come back again and again. So you fight spiritually till you make it out of there. And then you make it clear to them uh, as you finish your prayer. So you're not allowed to follow me home or to attach yourself to me in any kind of way, shape, or form. Tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. And you just walk away. You know, when you before you get into the house, do the sign of the cross. So nothing will be able to follow you into your home because they do follow. They do try to attach themselves to you around the neck area, spine, wherever they can attach themselves to you, they will. Yeah. In the Rio Grande Valley, Sister Delina, it's pretty bad down there where when there's evil, the since I've been up here in Central Texas, I haven't heard the dogs make this kind of noise. But when there's pure evil, the dog will make his nasty cry, like like a nasty cry. It's kind of like the cries of when the Nosferatu would be around. That kind of cry, like they howl real loud, real ugly. That kind of cry. like a very nasty cry. You know, we had a dog named Lobo and another one named Ali down in South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley. Where that's where I was raised and born. And Lobo, which was part wolf, he will make this nasty cry when there was something, a presence of evil around. He would warn us that there was evil around. Yeah, I would notice all these things. I'll give you a story. What happened to my uncle? You know, I have an uncle that when he was like in fourth grade, he hit his head on the railroad tracks, and he was never the same. So he had the mentality of a kid, you know, and he's up there in age, you know. He's already probably in his 50s or 60s, and but he had the mentality of a kid because of the blow to the head, right? So he was arguing with my grandmother one night, and he was telling her, "I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to this, you know." And he said, "I'm going to go sleep outside on the porch, you know." And then my grandmother tells him, "Ya lo verás. Va a venir la cosa mala por ti porque como me estás tratando." She said, "You'll see." Said the evil one's going to come for you because of the way you treated me, right? So he was front porch, you know. It had the rails and the porch, and he was just sitting. He was sitting on the chair, going to sleep on the chair, right? And our house is a four lots. It was in the other lot. You know, there's space in between the lots, and that's where we lived. It was nighttime. Next thing you know, I hear him screaming, and he's saying, "Ayúdame, ayúdame," and he's calling for my name, he's saying, "Abram," you know, "Ayúdame, Abram," you know, "Me están llevando." He's like, help me, they're taking me," and I'm like, "What is he talking about?" You know, and I was like, my mom's like, "Go see, go help him." What is he? My mom's like, go help him." You know, I don't know. You know, we don't know. It was late at night. You know, like around, I say like around 12:30. So there I go, and I see him. I see him that he's hanging onto the rails. You know those old metal rails, the for the porch that have a design. He was holding onto it. You know, as he was holding onto the rail, I could see his feet elevated in the air, right? And he's like, "You that man?" He's all scared, and you know, he's screaming. Oops. Wait one. I don't know what happened here. We're having technical difficulties here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I guess the spirit let me know. Don't say that story, but I'm going to say it. Uh, so you know, he's already up there in age, but he's got the mentality of a kid, a young like a kid. So his feet are elevated, and then he starts getting drug on the wood of the porch, where his fingers are going through the cracks of the porch. He's getting dragged by something, and I see him get dragged off the porch, and he's getting dragged on the grass and on the dirt, and he's you could see him screaming, yelling, "You the man, you the man!" And I see him grab his hands, and there's something literally pulling him. But when I look like this to see what I'm pulling him, I'm not seeing nothing, but his feet are up in the air, and something is dragging him. Right? You know when people talk about, "Oh, the Bigfoot has a cloak, the Dogman has a cloak." Well, there's already something that's been here created a long time ago that has a cloak, the DDN. Right? So he's being dragged by something, and I pray to God to show me what's dragging him, and then I see it. It showed me its form, but what I seen was something that was white, pretty tall, and then I say to it, "Leave him alone." You know, it's because I'm seeing it spiritually. I have the spiritual gift of discernment. You know, I've been able to see spiritually, so I told him to leave him alone. Then he just drops his feet, and walks away. But when he walks away, he fades out. Uh, he was pretty tall, whatever was dragging him. Then he gets up and he runs inside the house, you know. And then my grandmother's telling him, "I told you he was going to come for you." because the way you were treating me, But I witnessed it firsthand. When people talk about and this happened before there was even such a movie called The Predator. You know, this happened before even The Predator was created. You know, it was when I was young, in the early '70s when this happened that I witnessed this. So only God knows uh, what's out there. I'm more sure probably people experienced something like that during Vietnam. Where there was unseen forces working there, and maybe somebody might have gotten grabbed by something and got pulled that way. Maybe that's why they made the movie The Predator, because of stories of the veterans or what they said. But I witnessed this before even the movie came out. Uh, when he was dragging my uncle from the porch and his dirt was flying around. He was being drugged by something. His feet were elevated in the air, where something was dragging him. You know. How you doing, Sister Tracy? But it's a true story. My uncle, he got to live all the way up to the age of 99. He passed away. Let me see, like 6 years ago. True story. This is before even Predator came out. Uh, that I witnessed this unseen forces that had the ability to drag somebody. I guess the spiritual opening that my uncle had that day, because it was being mean. He was being mean to his mother. Uh, Hatred. Well, there's a spiritual opening, so he's being drugged by what I call the DDN, because he left the spiritual opening and he used that to. It was trying to take him. He literally was trying to take him. So I've faced things before, and I tried to get out there, with the stories of my experiences, because this is nothing new to me. It's been happening all my life. So to me, it's like when I hear somebody say something about something that witnessed or whatever, I'm more I already know what they're going through because of what I've seen and experienced spiritually throughout my life, of what they're really. I know the roots of what they're really dealing with, and I know how to overcome what they're dealing with, because this DDN, these demons, they can mimic anything. They can take any form, mimic anything, and the reason they do that is because they want to cover, how should I say, their true identity. But when you have the spiritual gifts of discernment, you're able to look through the manifestation and see its true identity. That's why I fight spiritually. And a lot of the cryptic community is not going to tell. Cryptic community, paranormal community, they're not going to speak to you about this, like I am. I'm speaking to you because I want you to be aware of what's really out there. That a lot of people in the paranormal community, in the cryptic community, they want to give this thing some kind of power. Because they wanna make it seem that they're real, and they want people to believe that they're real. But when they're believing, then that's the opening that he uses to attack people. You know, makes you wonder how many people, when they get somebody to believe in something, or why they're doing that. Me, I'm just revealing the spiritual aspect out of it, of what to do, what not to do. Uh, I guess that day that I helped my uncle, I did have a love foundation. I told him to leave it alone because I have love even for my uncle that was sick. Uh, and whatever was there left, because he knew that I had a love foundation, so he left my uncle alone. I made contact with my uncle, he left him alone. Make a contact with him, we become one with the love foundation. So he had to leave. Oh yeah, La Llorona. I witnessed the Llorona when I was younger. I think I said the story. But I'll say it again if you want me to. If you want me to say the story of my encounter of the Llorona, I will. I remember it like it was yesterday. That's one thing. What happens, brothers and sisters, that when you experience something, you can speak about it freely off the top of your head because you remember what you witnessed. You remember what you went through. Uh, I've heard it where people are trying to say a story to a podcast, and then next thing you know, they say, "Let me look into my notes. Let me look into the notes. What I got written down." It's like, what do you have to look into your notes if you got it written down? What do you have to look into your notes if it's something that happened to you? You should be able to remember, right? It should be first the nature of you saying your story, that you don't need to be looking at a piece of paper to say your story. Which, when somebody says that to me, the story most likely is fraudulent. They have to look at a paper to read, and then they're backtracking because of what they wrote in, and then you could tell it's a lie because it could be the same question asked and they say a different answer. You're not going to say a different answer. It doesn't matter how many times they ask you the same question in a different format. You should have the same answer. So there is a lot of stories out there in the paranormal community and the crypto community that are fake, that are fraudulent. I'm just letting you know right now. Uh, yes, this happened. Like, let me see what I'm gonna remember what year this was. Oh man, this I was already. My sister was 2, and I was 15. No, my sister was barely born, so I had to be 13 years old. Because my sister was only 2 weeks old when she was born, so I was 13 years old. My older brother was 15. Then everybody else is younger than me. I have a sister that's was 12. Another sister that was 10. Then my younger brother Robert had to be like 3 more younger than her, so he probably was like 6. No, no, or 7 or 8. And then my little, well, yeah, that's around right, like 6. Then my little sister was 2 weeks old, so my younger brother had to be 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old when this happened. Uh, uh, I was asleep in the last room. It was raining outside. And we have the house that we had was a long house, and there's a room. It's just a long house, and I was asleep in the last room, which is toward in the backyard, right, the last room, and it was raining. It was like around. It was I don't know what time it was. I know it was late already, probably like around 1:30, or no, maybe later than that. It was early in the morning, and it was raining. But what happened is I was asleep, and I got woken up, and my ears were ringing real bad by a low pitched sound. That my ears were ringing, and it woke me up, and my ears were hurting. I'm like, what's going on? Why is my ear hurting? So I said, I laid back down. When I laid back down, I heard in the distance, I heard like, but it sounded far away. So I was like, I wonder if the neighbors are fighting because it sounded like a woman crying. And I'm looking through the blind, or looking, I just opened the curtain because we had no blinds. Opened the curtain, and I could see the neighbor's light in the backyard with the light on, and it's pouring back there. And I said, oh, it's just my imagination. So I go lay back down, and as I'm trying to go back to sleep, I hear it closer. I hear, and it's like, what the? I'm like, what the? Then it's, and in my room, I had a door there. Next thing you know, that sound is right by my door, and I could hear, and I say, is that a woman that's crying in my back door? They're not knocking or nothing, just hear somebody wailing, and then it's like, they say, they're like, mis hijos, my children. See, my great grandmother and almost every grandmother that I had, they would tell us about the legend of the Llorona, you know. So as soon as she said mis hijos, my children, I already knew that that was the Llorona. So I got up, I didn't open the door, and I ran to the other room where my brothers were sleeping on the bunk bed. So I checked the bunk bed, and I said, "Bros, get up, La Llorona, La Llorona." And my brother was like, "That's no Llorona. Yeah, you're just imagining it." And by the window, because the bunk bed was right by the another window, you see the Sina Llorona with a dressed in white with a veil on her face, white dress, and you pass it right by the window, and they hear, "Ah!" Man, they jump off the bunk bed. They took a run, and we ran, and went to the other room. We passed the kitchen. We ran to the front room, and I'm telling my mom. I grabbed my little sister because she was not baptized yet. I don't think she was baptized yet or not. I can't remember. But I grabbed my little sister, and because she comes for children. So I'll tell my mother, the Llorona's here, La Llorona's here. And my mom's like, huerco pendejo. There ain't no Llorona here. Go back to sleep. You wake me up. Go back to sleep. And then through the front window where she's sleeping at, you hear, you see the Llorona pass right by the window. Man, my mom got on her knees and did the sign of the cross. She started praying, she started praying. The Llorona comes and gets on the by the front door, and she's wailing. I mean, like real ugly. She's like, I mean, it sounds real loud, and it's just hurting our ears. And I go to the doorknob, and I said, "Mom, should I help out the woman?" She's like, "No, huerco pendejo, it's the Llorona." It's like she's saying, "Stupid kid, that's the Llorona." So I'm holding the door like this, barricading the door so she won't be able to come in, right? And everybody's scared because she's wailing real loud, and she's there for about a good 5 minutes, wailing at the front door. Next thing you know, she goes and she's going through the yard, and while it's raining, and she goes right through the link fence, and she's wailing all the time. She wails, and you start hearing the wailing more faint. So we all run out outside, even if it was raining, and we're sitting there going up the hill, which is on our road. There was a hill, and then there's another road called King Street or King Ranch Road, and we could see the Llorona wailing away, going real fast on that street. So as we're there, and we see her, there's a house, and she passes a house on the street. Uh, you hear like a loud, like somebody hit the brakes. Boom, like something collides into something. So we all like, hey, let's go see what's going on. And when we were all scared, they were, scared because the Llorona was there by the doors. And it was like, okay, let's go. When we go up the street, we see is a semi truck that's flipped sideways, that it flipped over, and he ran into an Exxon, a gas station. So we get up there, and we're just being, I guess, nosy, right? And the cops are there, and they're trying to figure out if the guy was drinking, the truck driver. They're trying to find out all these things, and the truck driver tells them that he was driving, and that the reason he flipped over because he dodged a woman that was dressed in white. That he didn't want to hit her with a semi truck, so he dodged her. When he dodged her, because of the cargo he had, he flipped his truck sideways. Um, but the Llorona was gone. But that's the encounter I had when I was a kid. I literally seen her how she looked. Like couldn't see through the veil, but I seen the veil that she was wearing, white, and a white dress. It's kind of like if you think about it, it looked like a wedding dress in a sense of a way, because the legend of the Llorona, uh, she was seeing a man that was married, and she thought that the man was going to leave his wife for her and her children, right? And he didn't. So she got mad and she blamed the children for the man not wanting to be with her because if she didn't have her children, then most likely he will be with her. But the man was just using her, right? But she drowned her kids in the river, and God punished her to roam earth looking for her kids, for her children. That's what she's always crying, saying, "Mis hijos, mis hijos, my children, my children." So she goes after kids that are not baptized, and she goes for men that are being unfaithful to their wives. But that's the legend of the Llorona. And I guess the reason she's dressed in white is because she wanted to be married to that guy that she was messing on, even though he was married. So that's why she's dressed in white. So, and I've witnessed her another numerous times throughout my life, but I'm not afraid of her because I know she's just a spirit. So I just, if I were to see her, I would type on her because Jesus Christ's name, I would go into prayer. But that's what she roams Earth, and she's spotted everywhere around the world. In other parts of the world, she's called something else. But this one of the ones that is spotted everywhere is the Llorona. Doesn't matter what country, she's always spotted, and she's that's her punishment to roam Earth, looking for her children. Just if you're here and if you see her and she's wailing or she's crying for her kids, you already know that you're dealing with a Llorona. So just, maintain your love foundation. Don't be afraid, and she'll leave you alone. She'll go elsewhere. It's when because those spiritual openings of fear. It could be an opening where she could kind of enter your home. I hear where she's attacked certain people like truck drivers. You know, when we talk about the Llorona, we can't leave out the deer woman because that's what the deer woman does. He goes after men that are unfaithful, which is the deer woman, which is a shapeshifter, and that's what she goes to unfaithful men, lures them with her beauty, and if the men don't pay attention to her feet, that they will know that they're dealing with something that's a shapeshifter, because the feet will have they will look must a beastly form, have hooves. And that's what she's called, the deer woman. And in other countries, like I think it's Portuguese or Brazil, she's called La Soyona, Soyna. Yeah, they have different names in different countries. Then, in some countries, the Llorona is called the wailer. And then some people also call her the banshee because the banshee is kind of like, it's got like a cry, or it's like a loud cry or a screech of some sort that it wants to trigger the fear factor. But yes, she's around. I would see her all the time when I was growing up. Where I lived, where the school was, well, I would go to a school called El Smith. There used to be a canal that it was full of water, and let the water. They would get the water out to get the fields that were there nearby. But by the fence, I would see her come out of the woods. I would see this woman was dressed in white, also like her, but I could see her face, and she'd be crying. And I was getting close to her, and she had her hand by the fence, wanted me to go close to her. And as I was going close to her, uh, the coach, he was in the distance. He yelled at me, and he told her told me to stay away from her. And he called me, and he pulled me into his little office. He told me, "Don't you ever go near her again." Uh, and he was saying that was the Llorona. That's when I was a kid. I wasn't afraid, but she was standing by the fence with her hand on the fence, trying to get me to go to her. Yeah, in Ireland they call it, you call the whaler. Everything is good, Marcus. In Ireland, you call it the whaler. You got the banshee. In Spanish, we call her the Llorona. But it's basically the woman, the weeping. And I think some people call in other countries, they call her the weeping woman. La Llorona in Spanish uh, means woman crying, weeping lady. But I believe she's within legends all throughout the world, uh, where supposedly she originated from was Mexico. But only God knows. Maybe there was some. This might have happened. Maybe way before the person in Mexico did what she did, because maybe she's been here for a very long time. We just don't know how long. Searching the rivers, searching the canals, through where there's any water source, looking for children. Marco Hill say he calls her his ex-wife because she's always crying. Because she's always crying, or because you have custody of your kids, Marcus? The whipping lady. Let me get this a little bit closer so y'all can see me. Yeah, she's got the nasty cry. I've seen her by the creek down there in Elms Grove. She was walking along the creek or in the creek. Sometimes people see her levitated off the ground in the creek, because she's in spirit form. She might not be saying something, but then all of a sudden she starts crying or weeping. But she's on top of the water. Well, the things she did, she drowned her children. Yeah, she's evil. Blood. That lady, Bloody Mary, what people talk about. I think there was a story about a queen or something back in the day where she would kill young children, and she would drain the blood and put their blood in a tub, and she would get in the blood because she she would say that they would bring her youth. And she was a evil person, right? You could say a witch or beyond a witch, like just an evil person killing children to thinking that the blood was going to keep her young. But I think that's where the the origin of the Bloody Mary comes from. Was from this queen. I think it was a queen that was doing this, and he's dealing with England, Queen Elizabeth. You got Queen Elizabeth and all the queens on there. That's what they would do. The peasants, they would invite them to their kingdom. Next thing you know, they're taking their blood from them, and literally killing them to fill up the tub so they can take their their bath in blood. Yes, and I think that's where they got the thing about you look in the mirror and you say Bloody Mary 3 times. It has to do with that. Say people that she surfaces up, it scratches them or whatever. But that's where that originates from, is from the queens of England killing peasants and taking a shower in there, or a tub, in the tub of blood. They would soak their bodies in there for hours, thinking that they was gonna make them look young still, or the fountain of youth. Bathory murdered so many. That's the name of the person, Sister Delina. Vlad Tapich. Tapich. And this is in England. I'm gonna have to look her up. Bathory was a real name, and Bloody Mary is just a. I know there was somebody named Mary that was doing the same thing, but I think that's what the story originates from, was from this person that she's speaking about. But that's where the legend of the Bloody Mary happened. Bathory was from Transylvania. I'm wondering if she's it was something that would do from generation to generation. Uh, that that's what they would do. They were, to them it was normal taking blood baths. I wonder how many people in their lineage would do that before her. You know, she had to learn that somewhere. You know, if people that were before her were already doing that, you know, or is it just her that was doing this? I think I've seen a movie, something in that nature, where there was a castle and there was peasants and there was this queen, and it's a new movie that just came out, I think, like 2 years ago, and she's getting the. It's during the plague, you know, and she grabbed the her servants. Some were young, and she would just kill them and get their blood. Yes. Well, I've seen something of that nature, you know, and that was normal for them, but in all sincerity, you know, it's that's pure evil. When you take a life and you think that the blood is a fountain of youth. No, you think about that, you can think about blood sacrifices or rituals where people use blood. I believe in India, is it India, where they believe in the woman with six arms. I can remember her name, which is a demigod, that they do blood sacrifices to animals every year. You know, they kill chickens, whatever, and on her altar, she's got nothing but this blood everywhere. You know, there's a lot of countries that do that. Yeah, but if you, when you talk about blood, right? The chusas, you know, the harpies. That's what they do. They drain blood. Uh, you could say that they're a form of. It could be vampiristic when they take blood. You know, I've heard of where there was spiritual battles between the the dark witches and other, you know, with other witches, and sometimes they will find a victim, and the victim that they will find had no blood in their body. Uh, there was only like one mark where supposedly the blood came through. You know, when you think about that, then you think about, oh, it was a chupacabra. You know, because that's what a chupacabra is supposed to be, a form of a vampiristic, that he would leave one mark down in the Rio Grande Valley back in the 70s. That was goats, cows, horses that will be found with one mark. But when they found them, they had no blood in their body. No blood was in their system. Uh, so there was a lot of livestock that was being killed back in the 70s, and people were blaming two things. You know, they were blaming UFOs and then the chupacabra. The reason one hole, I mean, I don't think they're saying that the chupacabra doesn't have fangs, but that he uses his tongue, right, to take out the blood. The tongue has, I guess, a little attachment or like a needle-like that it punctures and that it sucks the blood that way. Then you have where people say, well, maybe it was the aliens that come and with their technology make one hole and suck the blood out of the body. And to this day, I don't think they ever found out what caused, uh, what happened to those dead cattle, how they found them with no blood. Did they get, for those that are into UFOs, into gray aliens, green aliens, or any kind of aliens? Uh, they're saying that maybe they got taken up by a UFO, experimented on something, took out the blood, and then they get dropped back off, or they got picked off, and then they found the body with no blood. They were experimented, but you figure if they were experimented, right, that there will be some signs when they were doing an autopsy on the cow that they were experimented, right, scars or something. How old are you right now, Sister Delina? Yes, you remember the pájaro, the big bird that was being spotted down there. It's around the time that all the things started acting up over there. I think it was 1976 when they had they call it the pájaro. The people were saying it was some kind of pterodactyl or some kind of thunderbird. That's not what I witnessed. I can tell you that right now, what I witnessed. And if anybody wants to hear that story, you know, I've said it before of how it happened, what I witnessed before even the incident started happening in Raymondville, Texas, or the surrounding areas. I we something happened that we witnessed something, and that's how that the pájaro, or I call it a demon. The demon surfaced up in Raymondville in Willacy County because something that kind of if they follow, right. So if y'all want to hear their story, where are you from in the Rio Grande Valley there, Sister Delina? I can share the story of what I witnessed. Uh, it takes away what I witnessed. I believe it's the true thing that what people, because when something's in disembodied form, it's something like a demon that can take any manifestation and that can mimic different voices, right? Yeah, there was dead cattle, dead goats. Well, I'm gonna tell you the story, Sister Delena. Maybe this will make sense to you of what I witnessed. Um, if you're from the South Texas, I can't remember the name of the highway, but it's a highway that goes towards Delta Lake. We had cousins that lived in a small town called Hargill, Texas, and we had some friends that lived in between Hargill, and San Manuel, uh, where. Hello, love. Just making a video. That's. Uh, so our friends lived out on the ranch. If you're down from South Texas, if you go down that highway, I just can't remember the name of the highway. It's been so long I've been home. There's a rest. There used to be a rest area by where there's like a national marker where there's a big empty space where there's like salt or something. Well, by the rest area, there's a dirt road that goes to the left, right? Uh, so it was night. It was kind of like a hurricane season because most of the valley had gotten flooded. So we decided to go to visit our friends because it was higher ground They told us to go over there. So we went. It was nighttime. We're driving down the dirt road, and in that road, each side of the road, there's a little lagoon where there's water on one side and then there's more water on the left side. As we were driving, we had an old green green station wagon. It was a Ford. I guess this Ford was from the '60s. You know, it was color green, or maybe a '65. All in all, it was old. You had the off green color of seats. You know, like a and we seen a fish. You know, it was a big fish in the middle of the road. As we seen the fish, I got all excited. I said, "Hey, we can get the fish and have a fish fry," you know, because South Texas we're close to the ocean, so we're used to catching fish at the port. So I seen the big fish, so I got off real fast. At that time, I was 5 years old, I think, 5 or 6. This is 1976. I was born in '69, so I had to be 6 years old. Let me see. No, 7. Yeah, 7 years old. So I I got off. You know, the headlights was hitting the road. I could see the fish. I went to the fish and grabbed it. My father had gotten off, and we were by the fish. Next thing you know, we hear a nasty screech, like a nasty screech. So when we turn to the left, on a tree stump, I see this. Uh, some people want to call them humanoids, but it had bat-like wings, or should I say, like demonic wings. It looked like a person because it had the form of the head was like of a person, but it was the same texture of the wings. It was crouched down, so with his feet. The feet had the talons, and the it had sharp teeth on this where he had his wings. He had fangs, sharp talons, and the face. It was kind of human-like shape, but they had the same texture of the wings, which would be like a dark color slash. It was more black than anything. But the eyes, that's what stood out the most for me. The eyes were red. So as I have the fish in my hand, it's looking at me and it makes a loud, ugly screech at me again. Next thing you know, he goes straight up into the sky. He's not even flapping his wings that look like demon-like wings or bat-like wings. It's real big. He goes straight up in the air. So we ran to the station wagon. We got into the station wagon, and we're driving. My dad goes over the water, and we start driving to try to make it to our friends that lived out on the ranch. Her name was Chewy and Matilda. Uh, so we're driving, and he comes back from the sky, and he scratches the top of our station wagon with his talons, and he flies, and he comes right beside our station wagon. He's flying parallel to us, and he's as long as a station wagon, you know. Because when we seen it, it was as crouched with his feet hanging like this on the tree stump. So it's seeing us, and he's screeching, and he starts banging on the station wagon, like trying to knock us off the road. I mean, it was hitting us hard that our station was moving to the right, and it was muddy and stuff like that. So it's like it was trying to run us off the road until we finally made it to Chu and Matilda's ranch. We drive up there. We're all freaked out, and my dad's telling him what happened, and he's like, "Oh, that's the local demon." That's what he said. The local demon. And he's like, "How come you never told me about this before?" I said, "Well, I figured by now that might have already run into it. Since that many times you come and visit us out here, then more likely you might have already run into it." So the story of this where it originated from was that there was a lady that lived near the lagoon. Further down, there was like a canal, and that's where her house was. That she was a witch, and that she summoned this demon, and that ever since she summoned it, when she summoned it, a little bit after that, she passed away. But the demon still lives in the territory, in the area, in the Rio Grande Valley, which some of the towns that are close to it is San Manuel. You got Edinburgh, which I believe that it's been spotted there before. Yeah. So we stayed there all weekend, and we waited till Sunday, and the sun was out. There was still a lot of water and mud, from the bad storm that came through, and we went down that road because that was the easiest way to get to the highway. Uh, so we started driving back. We're driving back as there was water everywhere. It's like to the left side of the road, by there's a lot of old trees and a lot of swamp land. We were driving home. We had already passed Argio, and I started witnessing that the thing that we witnessed was following us. That it was following us through the trees. And I would tell my mother, "It's following us. It's over there. I see it. It's following us." I've always been spiritually blessed to see things of the unseen. And my mom told me, "No, it's just your imagination. It's just in your mind." It followed us all the way back to Raymondville, Texas. Right. So we get to her house, and your mom was like, "Don't think about that. It was something that happened. Let's not think about it." I'm playing outside of my home, right? That day we come back from the ranch, and I see it. He's flying like supersonic speed, and he crashes into her attic. He goes into her attic. So I go tell my dad and say, "Hey, Dad, remember the thing I was telling you that was following us? It went into the attic. It's in the attic." He went outside, and he seen the little window where the heat comes out was broken. It was like a big old hole. My dad tried to tell me, it's just a cat. The cat probably did it. No, I seen it flying, and it came and went into her attic. He climbs a ladder, and he's looking with a flashlight. He don't see nothing, right? So he's like, "Oh, there's nothing in there." Uh, so that evening, I'm asleep. We had the bunk beds then, but my brother was in the top bunk bed. I was in the bottom bunk bed. Uh, I hear uh, something calling me. We have big screen windows because in South Texas it gets real hot back then. In the 70s, we had big screen windows that look kind of like the size of a door, so we can get as much fresh air as possible at nighttime, right? Which would be fresh inside the house. Uh, I heard somebody calling me, and the voice that I heard calling me was my grandmother. Uh, she would call me Abrancito. And I got up and I said, "Is that your grandmother?" And I heard her voice say, "Yes, yes, it's me. Come here." It's nighttime, like around, shoot, 1:30, 2 in the morning. Back then we had the lights. We had no switch. We had the lights that you pull. you know. So I didn't leave the light on. I didn't turn on the light. I just was walking towards the window, and uh, I hear say again, "It's me. Come here. Get closer." And I was getting closer and closer, but I was taking precaution because I couldn't see my grandmother by the screen window. So she keeps on calling me. It's "Come here, come here," you know. So I get close to the window. I guess the window would be like right here, and I hear her say, "Get a little bit closer," you know, because she was talking to me in Spanish. Rímete más, ala. And I get close, like around probably this close. When I get that close, everything happens so fast. The screen window caves in inward. I get hit in the face. I fly back, and then whatever caved in the screen, I guess his claws got cut up on the screen, and it took off the whole screen off the window. So my mother and father hear all the commotion. They come and they turn on the little light, you know, the little switch that you pull. The light turns on in the kitchen. They see me and they're trying to figure out what's going on. I have blood on my face, where it literally cut me, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then my grandmother comes out of her house trying to figure out what's going on. I was telling them that it was my grandmother calling me, but I seen her coming out of her house. You know, when there's no way that could have been her. You know, and they're looking at me and they put uh, something over my head to blood the 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 bleeding. You know, I'm older now. Let me see if I can show you the marks that I have. There you go. I'm older now. Let me see if I can change this light and see if I can see. It happened when I was 7. So I had to go to school the following day, and with a patch on my face. The teachers were trying to find out what's going on, and my parents told them to tell them, for me to tell them that it was a cat that did this to me. So let me see if y'all can see it. The two marks that I got from that injury. Let me check out the lighting real quick. Trying to give you all the best image of it. Maybe that might be it. Goes to my eye here, to my eyebrow. You can see the two marks. Goes up to the scalp area. Happened when I was a kid. Let me turn on the lighting. I'll go over it. It goes all the way to my eyebrow. Up here. Here. Where I got scratched by it. So, basically, it attacked me. Didn't tell the teachers what happened to me. But I think my PE coach might have known something because, he seen that I had that thing on my face. But my mom would tell me not to tell nobody anything. If she found out that I told anybody the story, then I would get a whooping, when I got home. So I never said nothing to nobody what happened. But what started happening after that, brothers and sisters, is people started getting attacked in my hometown. I guess a guy that lived out in the country, he was drinking some beer or something, and something attacked him from the back, scratched his back, which he had to get stitches, and it was going after children. That Then he started getting spotted all over the Rio Grande Valley. They were talking about a big bird, a pterodactyl. That's not what I witnessed. It wasn't a big bird, a pterodactyl, or what they want to call the natives called what's the name of it? A thunderbird. It was demonic in nature. Um, I believe. Well, that happened. We went back to visit Chewy and Matilda like 2 or 3 weeks old, 2 or 3 weeks later, because all these people were being attacked in our hometown. And we wanted to find out more. My parents wanted to find out what the deal was. So we get there and we find Chewy. He's laying in bedridden, and we're trying to find out what's going on. They said that he came back. They said that him and his son, his name was Oscar, were hunting. They were hunting for deer, and that the demon came, grabbed him from his shoulders, and was taking him up in the air. They said that Oscar shot at it, and he dropped him and let him go. But he was literally had him up in the air, in which he had some scars on his shoulder areas where he was trying to take them. But it attacked a lot of people in my hometown. That people started doing prayers and all this thing. but which was the right thing to do because, well, we're dealing with something demonic. Well, I'm just here to tell you, and I know that I have a friend of mine that he's creating a movie about that incident that happened there in South Texas. I'm just here to tell you one thing, and I can tell you this, that I know where it still is, where it resides. We found a different nest. Where it still resides at is in my hometown in the attic. That's where it's at. It's still there in Removille, Texas. But he goes in and out of there, I guess. I know they rebuilt the whole roof and stuff like that, but I know it's still there. The reason I say that is because my dad was like a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. My dad was hoarding, and he had a lot of stuff in the house. So me and my brother, my aunt called us that we could help him clean. So we drove all the way back to the valley, 6 hours away here from where I live, and we're cleaning out everything, throwing stuff in the trash in the alley, and just cleaning the house. We got to the last room. It's okay. We're going to use the last room as a storage for whatever else remained that might be savable. So I was taking the last box spring to that room, and up in the attic, it was missing a piece of sheetrock because it had water damage from a hurricane that had passed through. So as I was taking it, I seen it. It was looking at me, and I was looking at it. But during the day, uh, what I witnessed, it had like uh, yellowish eyes during the day. And as it was looking at me, I could see the silhouette of it. It moved to the side. So when I go walking to the front of the house, my dad is there, but it's not my dad anymore. What I mean by that is his eyes are rolled back white. He's talking to me in a different language, in which I believe he was possessed by it, because I believe, it's a demon. So my dad is acting weird. I'm praying against it. My brother sees how my dad is acting, and my brother says, "Hey, let's get the hell out of here." We go outside. You can hear women chanting. So, no, lechuzas, whatever, brujas. This is during the day. We get in the vehicle and we're driving the hell out. My brother driving fast is trying to not be around all that. So we're driving and we're going out of town. And we're already past the Texaco that's in the outskirts of Raymondville going towards Sarita or Kennedy. And I told my brother, look, I never ran away from a fight, spiritual fight. Let's go back. So how are we going to handle this? I said, with the Love Foundation. We drove back to the house. And my dad's handicap is missing a leg, his left leg. We get there and he's sitting in the middle of the yard. And as we're walking towards, get off, he's just looking at us and he said, "Hey, how y'all doing?" Like, he don't even remember that we were there helping him out or anything like that. He don't remember nothing. So we just Montana used the Love Foundation and said, "Hey, we just came to say goodbye and all this, and we maintained it with the Love Foundation. Then we left." And I told him we had to do that because we didn't want nothing to follow. Yeah, but that's what I witnessed. I have the scars on my face of when it's crashed. Some people don't think that something that's in spiritual form can make contact with you. Well, I have the proof to say otherwise on my face, where it literally scratched my face. I'll show it to y'all one more time. I had to live with this. When you hear somebody say "mark of the beast," if I cut this off, this hair, you can see the marks go up higher than that. They go way up higher than what you see in here. Let me lower down this so y'all can see them better. Maybe you can see them there better. It goes all to my eyebrow. Let me see. There you go. Boop. All the way up. It goes up to here to the scalp area. I was 7. I didn't get no stitches, so I literally healed naturally. But now that I'm older, I feel pain. I feel pain in that area where it hurts sometimes. Where I feel like if the wound is fresh, right? So it'd be hurting real bad here, all the way up to here, uh, or wound. But I heal naturally because I didn't go to the doctor to get stitches. So, since I was young, I naturally healed. So now that I'm getting older, you're able to see the scar. This other scar I got here, that's happened when I fell off of my bike, in which this one I did get stitches right here. But this one's was when I got attacked when I was 7 years old. Matter of fact, the picture that I have here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, that you can see how my hair is combed to the side. The reason is not that my hair was combed to the side, is that that's where it scratched me and it took some of my hair with it. If you see the little picture here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, you see me with a lot of hair, and you see me because I'm standing the other way, right? All this is missing. Like I have a lot of hair, but a certain section has got a longer section where it looks like my hair is parted. No, it's because I lost hair from when I got scratched in the face. I just wasn't allowed to tell anybody because the whooping I will get if I were to tell somebody in school or anything from my mother would be severe. So I just kept it to myself. So that's what I'm sharing with y'all. That that thing was the demon that came from that area where this witch had summoned it. That is still there. I think somebody posted a picture of something, but I think that one wasn't real. I think that was like from Jeepers Creepers that somebody placed out there, but it still exists out there. It's still there. I mean, I know he marked me, so I'm more sure if I were to go back to home that it'll probably surface up, and I would have to fight it spiritually. I'm sorry, Sister Delana, but I know I talked to somebody, spoke to somebody, and they said they had gotten spiritually attacked. I mean, they got attacked by it. There was a female that she was riding a horse. She was I think she was in FFA, and that thing attacked her. But it happened so fast because something that's in disembodied form, they can move very rapidly. That you're not going to see what attacked you. So that's why it was hard for people to put a picture out there because it was moving in disembodied spirit mode, which is faster than the blink of the eye. So that's why some of the pictures that people would draw didn't make no sense. Some people drew a picture of a pterodactyl. Some picture drew pictures of a different kind of bird. Well, I got to witness it because it was sitting on a tree stump. Maybe one day I will draw the picture. I'm gonna do it. Might do it today, so I can show you what I witnessed. I'm not that great of an artist, but I can draw what I witnessed in that little lagoon because it's in my memory banks, right? And in my memory, I remember how it looked. Sorry to hear there's Delina. How old are you, Sister Delina? I mean, I know that's a question you don't ask somebody, but if you were from the time frame, you probably know what I'm speaking is the truth. I got scratched in the face, and I've gotten scratched in the back. The same day, I think it was trying to take me out the window, but I was skinny, probably like real skinny, 25 pounds, 30 pounds. When I was a kid, that it just hit me and I flew back. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see my friend writing the thing of the pajaro. I just wish that they said the truth about it, you know, because there was no evidence ever found of a bird or a pterodactyl, or a picture of it flying in the air. I mean, in the valley there is all kinds of birds, you know, that migrate that ways. But what I witnessed was not a bird. You know, it was crazy. It had red eyes, sharp teeth. Uh, it looked like it was part like the shape of a head like human, but it wasn't human like. But the same texture of the wings were the it was the same texture that it was from head to toe. I did not see a feather on it because it was more demon-like, bat-like. That it was just the same texture, and that's why it flew so fast. It had no feathers. It was more of like how a bat has his wings. It had the same texture the body had, and it was all black. So you could say it was like a stealth mode that it can blend in the darkness, flying in the air in the darkness. That it could blend in very well. That people wouldn't be able to see it because of the color was pure dark black. Uh, well, that's my story I wanted to share with y'all about what I witnessed back in the 70s in 76. And I showed the cut that I have on my head is a scratch that healed naturally because I did not go to the doctor. I didn't get no stitches, but now that I'm older, sometimes I feel pain there. But I hope y'all are enjoying this early morning feed here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I just wanted to share that with y'all. You know, it's not just a story, but I have the scars on my face. You know, let me see. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things in the 70s. I remember going to certain towns within Texas back in the 70s. Settle down, where uh, you would stop at a gas station, and or it could be a restaurant, and it would say the sign. They would have a sign on a piece of on a tree. It would say, uh, no ants allowed, no wetbacks allowed, and it would say in the very bottom, only dogs allowed. Then it would say, don't be caught here after sundown, which that's what it would say on the sign. It was there was a lot of racism, you know, a lot of racism back in those time frames. I remember a lot of events that happened. You know, I got a lot of stories. You know, when you people don't understand how hard it was for anybody that was a minority because there was people. It was about racism that thought they were greater than everybody else, in which in reality they're not, because we're all equal. But that's all. I remember even in the 90s, you know, where when oh in '89 when I joined the military, went to basic, and I was living in Germany. You know, we were all in dress screens, and I remember there was only one seat left, and there was a guy sitting by it. He was in the dress screens. I said, "Hey man, can you scoot over, or can I sit down on the other side?" He said, "No." I said, "What'd you say?" I said, "That's the only seat there's here. Can I sit there?" He said, "No." So I was there standing. I said, "Okay." I jumped right over him. Boom, sit down beside him, and he told me they told me not to trust your kind, you know. I said, well, right now we're all in the same outfit. We're wearing the same uniform. So suck it up, you know. And I said a bad word to him because, you know, he had got me upset because it was being racist. He got what he did. He stood up. He got up and stood up in the middle of the bus. He wouldn't sit down, and we're going to our destination where we're gonna fly to come go to Germany. So it's kind of like that guy ain't gonna. He's gonna learn the hard way, you know. But I witnessed racism in many ways, many forms. Oh yeah. Then you had what was the Connor attack? You know, you had Chicano power, you had the KKK, and then you had the Black Panthers, right? Black Power. The Black Panthers were affiliated, right, in which they became like kind of like the KKK. They discriminated, even though they were a minority. They were discriminating against Chicanos. It's kind of like okay, and you figure if what they've been through, they will stick with the minority, right? That we're the same and we have to unite together. No, they say, okay, this got done to us. Let's do it to somebody else. Let's do it to the Hispanics. Let's do it to the Oriental people, which they have a certain name for it. I think they used to be called. They call them chinks. So there I am in the military in my dress greens, and you know I get there and I went up in the all black platoon. Then I start getting racism from within the ranks. From the black people, the platoon sergeant was affiliated with the Black Panthers. So one day he said something to me that I don't like your kind. And then I looked at him and I said, well, I don't like Snickers. uh, he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, figure it out. Do a little bit of a correction on the spelling and you see what I'm talking about. Uh, he started telling me he was going to do this and that, you know. And I told him, I'm not going to work for you. And I said, I'm going on strike. This is not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up in the military so you can be racist to me. I signed up to be a soldier, not for you to attack me through being racist. I want to go talk to a chaplain about it. And next thing you know, I'm doing KP. They're sticking me in they're treating me like if I got an Article 15. So I'm doing KP for about for a whole month. Then I went up to him and I said, "Hey, how come uh, you still got me doing KP?" That's when he said, "I don't like your kind." And then went from there. Then after that, it's like after I do KP, I'll do KP from 5:30 in the morning all the way to 6:30 at night. They say, "Hey, don't take up your video top. So go here behind the billets. Start stretching out." And I'm like, and it was ex drill sergeants, which they were also black. One thing that they considered their kind would be Puerto Ricans, right? From they consider Puerto Ricans to be their kind, even though they might not be the same color. It's because I guess of the Amistad and stuff like that, where some of them got dropped off through so slavery, so they consider them as black. So I am stretching out, and I see a mob of black people, African American, coming towards me. They have a gun, a guy stretching out, and he's all cut up. And they said, "Hey, you got to fight." So I had to fight. I don't want to fight. They said, "If you don't fight, we're going to give you an Article 15 and take your rank." So I fought. Uh, I went undefeated, 40-0. They were getting so upset because I was defeating. You know, I said they're kind because that's what they would tell me. You're not one of us. So they got mad and said, "We just want you to get beat up by one of us." I said, "That's not how I was raised. I was raised to fight." you know. Uh, so they never did. I finally said something to the first sergeant. The first sergeant something finally did something about it, and they left me alone. But then after that, I got targeted when I went to Operation Storm. Because I ratted them out. You know the saying, snitches get stitches. So they tried to take me out there, but I'm still here. So it's like they didn't want to face me as a man, right? So they wanted to do me shady. They wanted to do me dirty because who they sent my way to do harm to me didn't succeed. So that's what happens, brothers and sisters. Basically, what I'm saying is when somebody thinks that they're inferior or greater than everybody else, and you prove it to them, then no matter who they send to you, you're going to overcome them. Then they just let them know, hey, you're not as superior as you think you are. Because if you were superior, then there wouldn't be so many of your kind defeated, right? And that's what it boils down to when it comes up to racism. Whether it's coming from black or white, you just have to show them. You have to stand your ground and show them what you're about, and which I did. Yeah, even in combat. Imagine being in combat and you're in a situation where you're going to fight the enemy, but then you can trust nobody around you because they got a hit on you because you snitches get stitches. So people are coming after you before you even go into war, and they're trying to take you out. You know that happened numerous times. I can share a story. I know we're getting off the topic. Uh, I wasn't trusting nobody, so I was sleeping on top of my tank, and I said, "This is going to be, people come at me, I'm going to be ready for them, and I'm not. If they come at me in a threatful manner, then I take them out, right?" So up on the tank, there's two NCOs that come. They're African American. And hey, we got a spot for you in the tent. Come sleep in the tent. It's cold out here. The desert at night time it gets real cold. So I told them, no, I'm good. I said, come on, man. They're trying to be all friendly with me, which I didn't trust them. I said, okay, I'll go. I go, uh, and I'm looking. The cot that they're setting up for me. It's of the tent. It's like in the very back of the tent, in the darkness. Settle down, girls. Uh, so it's in the darkness, and I follow my spirit, right? So I say to myself, settle down, girls. Bell and elbow. Sorry about that. So my spirit is telling me, don't set up. Don't lay down on this cot. So what I did is I had a shelter half. Girls, settle down. Uh, it got a shelter half, and I put the shelter half on the cot. Uh, and I put my sleeping bag on top of the cot. I mean, on the cot, and I filled it up with dirty laundry. Fill it up like if it's me laying in the bag because I was following my instincts. Then underneath the cot, I put the foam, and since the shelter hat was covering the sides, I said, "Okay, I'm going to sleep under the cot." So as I'm under the cot and I'm trying to stay awake because I don't trust nobody, and I'm kind of dozing off. All I hear is sa, 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 bayonets going through the sleeping bag in the cot. A bunch of them. And next thing I heard somebody running, and I look, and it's the same two guys that told me to go sit there. You know, they thought they had taken me out or something, right? Because I didn't trust them. So the following day, uh, they said that the company commander was talking to me, and I got my sleeping bag in the cot because the two guys that tried to take me out tried to tell him that I'm a dangerous person, that they need to confiscate my personal weapon. So my company commander's there telling me that I need to give him my weapon. And I'm looking at him. I said, look, this is what happened last night. I was on the tank and I told him the story. Look at my sleeping bag. It's full of holes. Look at my cot. It's full of holes. And he told me, I don't care about that. So, so I just want you to give me your weapon. So when he tells me that, that's already telling me that in some kind of way that he's affiliated with him. I said, okay, sir. He said, you know, by through Geneva Convention laws, if you disobey a follow order in a combat situation, that I have the right to kill you. I said, okay, sir. I see where this is going. So I pull out my 9 mil. I already had it on fire, and I pointed at him. I said, okay, sir. Since you say you don't got my back, and you done show me where you side with, I just want to know one thing: who's gonna be first to die tonight? Today, is it gonna be you or is it gonna be Ted? I had no choice. He's looking at me. I said, so what's it gonna be? He said, he's leaving the fuck alone. They took off running because they didn't have their weapons on them. And then he looked at me and he turned around and walked away from me. I had to stand my ground, and I kept my weapon. And I told him, yes. And then I told him, you tell this MFers, if they get close to me, any close to me all throughout the time I'm out here, I'm letting you know right now, if they get close to me again, they're dead. I told them straight up, they're dead. I will defend myself. And they looked at me, they're all like freaked out. Uh, yeah, they try to take me out. And that's kind of messed up, you know? When your own people are trying to take you out because they couldn't handle that a Hispanic went 40-0 against their skin color, undefeated, you know. Imagine going through all that, and yeah, there's anger, hatred at that time, you know. But I had to forgive all these people. You know, imagine somebody that thinks that's born that way, or not that they're born that way, that they're taught that way, and all this time throughout their lives, they've never changed. So when they die, they go. When they die with prejudicism. It's because it's within them. They just didn't live by it, but I mean, they live their lives in this manner that they die with racism in their hearts, and wish the unseen forces are going to be waiting for them to collect that soul, because they focus too much on having hatred in the heart, in which the unseen forces are there to collect that soul. That's why I say to y'all, it's important to maintain the Love Foundation. Now, I can say a lot of stories. That's one story that happened to me, true events. And they tried afterwards. After we came back from the war, we overcame the enemy. They even tried then. They went back like, okay, we're not afraid no more. We're not in combat no more. We overcame combat. So now let's go back to where we left off. Let's go take out Mr. CS. You know, they tried again, and that's a different story. But I already talked about it last time. You know, but that's what happens in life. It's like a roller coaster ride. When you're being tested either physically or spiritually, certain things happen, you know, that you just have to take things accordingly to how they come up. In which sometimes, well, I'll be honest with you, I had to take care of things physically at one point in time in my life because I had no choice but to take care of things physically. Yeah, I'm a veteran. I'm proud to serve my country. At the same time, no, I'll say it right now. You know, I'm proud that I overcame my enemies uh, with the Love Foundation. Because if I wanted to, I could have hurt them a lot more. But I just made it real fast and simple. Since they were making a fight every day for about 2 months, I said the only way I'm going to be able to survive this, and that's that I was tired because that would make me work all day on my feet. They're trying to set me up for failure. They made me fight while I was tired. They would make me do some workouts, and then they bring somebody to fight me because they're trying to weaken me. But I had a strong will, uh, and I would say to myself, I will see the enemy or the person that bring me to fight, and I will overcome them. I will defeat them very rapidly. Then the next day was the same thing. I hear all these guys that get in big fights, and that's why when I see the UFC, MMA, or anything like that, it doesn't impress me. I mean, go fighting 40 fights within a 2 month time frame with no rest and them working you hard all day. Now that's a freaking challenge. Well, guess what? I overcame that challenge and I'm still here. I still remember, and I'm sharing the stories of what to do. it's, it's, it's sad that they try to weaken me by making me work all day, and then they figure, okay, let's bring out something so they can beat him up. He's tired, and I still overcome the enemy. All through Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ gives you the energy, He gives you the speed, He gives you the focus. He blesses you to be able to overcome any trials or tribulations that come your way. So I just thank Jesus Christ daily for me to overcome everything that I've been through, especially when I was in combat, uh, that I had to fight the enemy and watch the enemy within. You know, no, it didn't work. What they didn't know was this: I would run 20 miles a day. Uh, I would practice, you could say, a form of martial arts, and I knew how to box. They didn't know that. They're just thinking, oh, just a guy. He's real skinny. He weighs 150 pounds. We'll bring somebody bigger, take him out. Didn't work. When when you give it 100% of what you work out on, whether it's martial arts or boxing, then everything you do, it becomes first to nature. You become a weapon. So that's how I was able to overcome the people that were coming up against me in my life that were trying to take me out physically. Yeah, I would always work. I was always working out, even when I was out there. I would train my senses, which my senses were first to nature. So because over there in the desert, you had not everybody had PVSMs to be able to see at night. So I had to rely on my senses because the enemy was sneaking up with a night vision and they could see me, but I couldn't see them. But I could sense them spiritually. My spirit could sense when something will enter my bubble, a space. So that's when I would use my senses to overcome. And sometimes it was people trying to wake me up for guard. That by the time I knew it, I already had them from the neck area, with my weapon or my bayonet, and they were like scared. And I'll let go of them, and I say, hey, next time you're gonna wake me up, you better throw a rock at me or something. Don't come and try to get near me because my body is gonna react a certain way against you entering my space. But anyways, brothers and sisters, I think I've spoken enough of all that. That was a long time ago when I was 19 years old. But in saying that, I would like to say thank you to all the viewers. I'm going to take a little break now. I hope y'all enjoyed the stories that I was speaking here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I will place another short reel of the DDN that captured a closer look on it itself, how it's moving his disembodied head, how it's moving. And I might do other videos or other pictures, screenshots, put some filters on them so you'll be able to see the other things Or you want me to let them in or put them in? Okay. Bye. I hope you're enjoying this. Not unless somebody wants me to say another story, I'll say another story. But I'm thinking I've spoken enough. I'm just letting you know some of the things that I've been through in my life that makes me who I am. This is like people that come at me in a negative way, the trolls or people pretending to be trolls. They just don't know uh, who they're dealing with. I'm one of those people that if we're gonna fight, uh, we're gonna fight. It's gonna be a fight, and by the end of when everything settles, I will be victorious because I placed Jesus Christ first. Doesn't matter what you train. Doesn't matter how big you are, what you think you can do. It's just this. This is how I am. I can make myself be a whole different person, and which that's first of nature. How it can be. Uh, but I become more victorious over the people that are coming against me in a negative way. And yeah, and of course, Heavenly Father blesses me also. He gives me the super strength. He gives me the speed. He gives me the time to be able to overcome the enemy. The only thing is when I overcome the enemy, I overcome with the love foundation. Even if I had to get physical, it's going to go to a certain point where I just subdue the person that's coming against me. Once I subdue them, that's it. It's over. But and I just move on. I don't go beyond that because I don't want to hurt somebody. So I just teach the people a lesson. You're welcome, Smith Wesson. But that's how I am. My brother in arms, they call me the warrior. They remember uh, all those fights. They remember that I was victorious. So that's why they call me warrior. Or ultimate warrior. Because of all the fights that I overcame. I mean, what are you supposed to do? To me, fighting is like dancing. I love to dance. Not saying that I love to fight, but it's like dancing. It's first in nature. I know how to dance, ballroom dancing, and that's what I do. Fighting the same way. I love to dance, and when I overcome a fight is because I have love in my heart. I don't anger. No matter what the opponent is saying to me, I don't pay attention to that. I just focus on the target and what I have to do to overcome the target. Yeah, we'll be good. We're attending a dance this weekend, Tejano dance at the VFW for Father's Day. So Saturday, that's where I'll be on Saturday at the VFW. There's a band coming in and playing some Tejano, so I'll be doing that. Doing some Tejano. Oh yes, I will. But in saying that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for tuning in. God bless you, your brother. God bless you and your families. Uh, and love, light, and blessings to every single one of you. Peace out from here, from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I'll see if I can do a live later on at night to see how I feel. Because I've been getting a lot of rest. Could be due to the weather. But in saying that, y'all have a beautiful, blessed day. Peace out, everybody.